Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for another stream. This is the transfer tips video for Double Gameweek 22. It feels like a while since we last streamed. I think it was on Sunday we last streamed, so it's 5 days? Probably the longest we've gone without a stream in a while, but it's nice to be back. Nice to talk FPL again with you guys. It is Double Gameweek 22, so we're going to talk about, transfers and all that. But before we do start, how you doing, Jordan? Is everything good and you ready to go?
Yeah, already set and to go. It's been pretty quick. The way the week has just flown by, and literally a week away from Double Gameweek 22, which is going to be very exciting. But yeah, all in all, it's very good. The weekend is here, so yeah.
Yeah, there's obviously a week left till the deadline, so we'll have some content for you guys throughout the week. We don't usually stream on Friday, but it is what it is. FA Cup, Arsenal and Man City are playing in about an hour, so we will be watching that in a sec. But let's bring up the players that we recommend you look to bring in for Double Gameweek 22. So we know Manchester United have a double, and the first one, I think these picks are going to be quite obvious. So let's bring it up. As I said, Manchester United have a very nice Double Gameweek 22. Two very nice home games. Crystal Palace at home and then Leeds at home as well. It doesn't get much better than that, I would say, for a double game week for Man United. And you look at Rashford, he's the first player we recommend you buy for this game week. If you don't have him already, I'm assuming a lot of you do. His ownership's 50% nearly. He's a very obvious buy, so we're not going to spend too much time explaining why you should bring him in. I mean, you look at his goals, 9 goals in 22 appearances so far this season. Especially since the World Cup break, he's had an uptick in form. He's probably in the form of his life right now. His expected goals per 90, 0.42, so he's pretty decent. He has, 7.2 million now. Currently, he's risen in price, and I think he's an obvious pick if you don't have him. I'm assuming a lot of you have him. Anything else you want to add on Rashford, Jordan? If you don't have him now, it's just a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, if you don't have him, now is the time to own him because he does have a double, which are 2 home fixtures. Both are green, and the Man United form at the moment is very good. And Rashford is the main goal scorer for Man United. Without him, there's not really any. So, yeah, you would want him for those doubles and potentially a triple captain option as well. If you dare, go there as well.
Yeah.
He's owned by half of FPL owners. So if you don't have him already, now is the time to bring him in.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got him, as we said. A lot of people do have him. If you don't, you should look to bring him in. But triple captain you mentioned there is an interesting one because he is going to be quite highly captained, I believe, this week because Manchester United have a double. I think he could be probably the most. Do you think he'll be the most captain player? Obviously, there's going to be Haaland, but he's a single game week player. Rashford with the double. I'm going to captain Rashford as of now, I think. Do you think it's worthy, triple captain worthy to play it this week?
It is triple captain worthy because Man City did struggle against Tottenham. That's who they've got next, by the way, if you ever considered Haaland as the normal captain for each week. But because Rashford has a double, which is a very good double, the captaincy may swing towards him more. But I think from Haaland's warning of scoring a hat-trick in that Wolves game, it may slightly not tempt people to go Rashford just to play it safe, even though Man City have Tottenham, where they did struggle, and Haaland, I think, did blank in that one. I think some people may not take the risk going against Haaland just because of how dangerous it can be. But at the same time, a lot of people can be tempted at Rashford's 2 home fixtures in the double game week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 90% that I'm going to captain Rashford. There's another option where you guys could go. We'll talk on triple captain, I think, more in the team selection video, but it is definitely a good time potentially to play it, I think. But there is that slight worry with the turnaround. I think the Palace and Leeds fixture, the days between it is, I'm just going to double check here because they play Palace on the 4th and then they've got Leeds on the 8th. So only a 4-day turnaround, which isn't too bad, but you'll have to consider the risks and rewards with that, guys. But we will do more of that on that topic in the team selection video. Moving on to another Manchester United player that we recommend you buy, and that is Luke Shaw. Now, Luke Shaw is on this list as, as a pick because if it wasn't obvious, again, he's got a double game week. And yeah, he's got Palace and Leeds as well. 1 goal, 1 assist so far this season, 18 appearances from him. And yeah, I think Luke Shaw is probably the pick that you want to go for if you want to triple up on Man United, because another player we will mention, obviously is not mentioned on here, but is Bruno Fernandes. I think if we're looking at a triple up of Man United, Rashford, Bruno, and Shaw probably look the best 3 for me. Do you agree with that, Jordan, or do you reckon there's a better 3? Who are the best 3 Man United assets? Because we're going to want to triple up, as you see, with the nice fixtures. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else, in your opinion, that's better?
Personally, no. And the ones that you mentioned on triple up, Shaw, Bruno, and Rashford are the ones I've really gone for as well since the World Cup. After the World Cup, I've literally gone with triple Man United, and that is Shaw, Bruno, and Rashford. There is no other triple up that I would potentially go for if I didn't have those 3 right now. Those are the 3 main assets. When I've watched Man United, those 3 key players who I see involved are those 3. There's no real other player that I would really consider other than those.
I agree with you. I've got Luke Shaw in my team. I've had him for about 2 game weeks now. I've also got Rashford, who I had since the World Cup break in game week 16, 17. And yeah, I think if you are looking for a Man United asset, those 3 look the best. You could go differential, someone like Anthony, someone even like Weghorst, who does seem to be playing a lot of games as expected because of Martial's issues with injury and his reliability. Bruno as well, I think, is one we will touch on. I think he's a definite buy as well, guys. If you don't have Bruno at his ownership as well, is one to consider. But yeah, Luke Shaw, 22% ownership. He's definitely a must. 5.2 million is quite cheap to have in your team. If you're still holding on to Cancelo, easily downgrade him to Shaw, and I think he's a must. And you can potentially see 2 clean sheets in both the doubles. So even De Gea could be a decent pick, guys, just to get the clean sheets. And you look at 23 and 24, Manchester United also have some pretty decent fixtures. So De Gea could be a pick. Other than that, I'm not too keen on the rest. But let me know what you guys' pick is. I'm going with Shaw, Bruno, and Rashford as my Man United 3. I think that will be the most popular pick. Let's move on to some players that we think you guys could be looking to get rid of and potentially selling ahead of Double Game Week 22. So the next player on the list, and if he hasn't already, if this wasn't an obvious one already, I think a lot of managers have sold Cancelo already. His ownership is dropping quite a lot. He's still priced 7.1 million. So I'm going to get your thoughts on him, Jordan, in a sec. You've sold him, I believe, last game week.
Yeah.
I'm still holding on to him. I'm probably going to sell him. I'm pretty certain on that. 100% sure. I want to get rid of him now. He did start one of the games in the Double Game Week 21. So he didn't play both, as expected. You look at his fixture next. He's got Tottenham away. I'm just going to quickly take a look if he's actually starting tonight, because I've not checked the lineup. So maybe that will indicate whether you hold on to him. But Man City do play FA Cup game. And looking at the fixture list, Cancelo doesn't start. So he's on the bench again tonight. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it is pretty good that he starts against Tottenham. But either way, I'd be looking to probably get rid of Cancelo now. He's got a tough game in Double Game Week 22. You can see Tottenham potentially scoring in that game. Yes, he's got the double, so you could be tempted to keep him. But I would actually, I would sell him because he's too expensive for what he's offering currently. with his attacking numbers coming down, his assists, his goals, and even his minutes have come down a lot. As you can see, even tonight he's been benched, and he has been benched in a lot of recent games by Pep Guardiola. So he's for me an easy sell. What do you reckon, Jordan? Would you agree that if you've got him still, it's probably best to get rid of him?
Yeah, I mean, at that price of 7 million, he's a premium defender who hasn't delivered much this season, and even Pep has lost faith in Cancelo. As we see, he's benched. Cancelo normally plays most matches in other competitions as well, whereas now he's not really starting in any competitions as well as the Premier League. He's only scored 2 goals and 1 assist this season in 17 appearances, which isn't like Cancelo at all. He's usually almost in more higher figures than this, and as well as clean sheets, Man City haven't kept many this season either.
Yeah.
So there's just too much money invested in a premium defender which isn't delivering much. Whereas other cheaper options are like Luke Shaw, for example, at 5 million. He's delivered so much more than Cancelo has in the past since the World Cup ended. Since then, Luke Shaw's surpassed Cancelo by miles in terms of points. He has returned so many. So it does make sense why Cancelo is a sell. I mean, Pep's lost faith in him and starting him in the Premier League for one. Rico seems to be the better option that Pep prefers. And there's not knowing if Cancelo will ever come back, especially back to the form he was in as well. So yeah, he's definitely a sell if you haven't got rid of him already. I mean, he's still highly owned at 37%. So I'm surprised he's still highly owned, but I'm imagining that's going to really drop by the time Double Gameweek 22 does come around the corner. Even though they have a double game week in 23, I still wouldn't be persuaded of bringing in Cancelo. I think going with, I'd rather go with the goalkeeper, Ederson, just to make sure that I know Ederson is going to play a game. Whereas Cancelo, you're not too sure if he'll play both of those games in that double game week. So, yeah, that's my opinions on why I think Cancelo is a sell.
Okay. Let's move on to some players that we think you could hold on to now. So these are the players that maybe managers are taking out their team, but we think you could give a bit more time to. First one on the list. Sorry, sell. My bad. Another sell. So forget what I said, guys. This is another player we reckon you should be looking to sell. So there is 2 players. The second one up, sorry, I should say, is Mo Salah. And yeah, we've put Salah as a sell. It may come as a surprise to some people. It may not come as a surprise to some people. I've got rid of Salah myself. I had Salah in my team, and I think I got rid of him in about game week 18 or game week 19. I can't remember now. He's got 19 appearances and only 7 goals. Just to compare that to last season, after 19 appearances last season, I believe Salah had 15 goals. So he's got less than pretty much half his goal return compared to last season in the same games. So he has had a massive drop in goals in his form, as well as Liverpool as well. It's not just Salah. The entire Liverpool team has dropped off massively, which maybe not a lot of people saw coming. I think Liverpool sit, 9th right now. So you look at Liverpool's fixtures coming up, they don't look too bad on paper. But the way Liverpool are playing, as we said, it's not been great. And they are struggling to get consistency. So Salah would be a sell, especially at that price range we've mentioned at 12.8 million. Still very expensive, and he probably doesn't justify that price now, especially with only 7 goals so far this season. There's probably better use of that money elsewhere where you can spread it around and improve your team. What's your quick thoughts on Salah, Jordan, and as a sell?
Yeah, I mean, similar situation to other premium players, Salah being the most expensive one going into the season. He's just underperformed so much to our expectations, not enough. And yeah, a lot of us have got rid of Salah. His ownership is now 25%. I can't remember the last time it was that low. As the seasons for him have been really good for Liverpool, but this season for them has been really, really bad for them. I mean, they've had lots of problems in all positions, especially losing Van Dijk as their most recent problem, using the best defender in the team, the hamstring injury. And it looks like Liverpool's goals are also dried up a bit as well. The 0-0 against Chelsea just shows that even the goals are not coming from Liverpool anymore, and that's a bit worrying, especially for Salah owners that are still holding on to him. I think it is the time to sell him, as he is holding a lot of money as well, 12.8 million. I think it's just best to save the money elsewhere and just until wait and see if Salah does come back on form and Liverpool in general, because at the moment it doesn't look like they are in the great shape of mind at the moment. So even though their fixtures are average, I don't think they're greens. The next two, I think they're potentially greys, and the ones after that, 24, 25, 26, they could be potentially reds for Liverpool at the moment, as the level of the teams that they have coming up are doing better than what Liverpool are doing at the moment. So that's why I think Salah is a sell.
Yeah, I'd agree there. So yeah, we'll put Salah as the second sell on the list. Let's move on now to some players that we think you should be holding on to potentially. And now these are players that maybe managers are taking out their team, as I mentioned, that we think you could give another game week or two to. So the first one is Miguel Almiron, and he's been transferred out by. I'm just gonna check because when I checked a couple of days ago, he was actually one of the highest transferred out players this game week. So looking at it, he's the second most transferred out player in this game week so far, with 311,000 managers transferring Almiron out, which might come as a surprise to many owners, because Almiron has been a bit of a revelation so far this season. 20 appearances, and he's got 9 goals. And he's very cheap, 5.8 million. I think he started at 5 million, so he's been brilliant so far. His underlying numbers aren't the highest, which maybe shows that he was slightly overperforming his expected goals at the start when he went on that hot streak, similar to Martinelli. And now you're seeing them maybe revert to mean in terms of the expected goals. So 0.29. He was on a bit of a hot streak, especially pre-World Cup. But since then, he has blanked in a few games. Managers are getting frustrated, I guess, due to other players returning. You look at someone like Matoma at Brighton, even someone like McAllister, around that price range where people are probably, tempted to go there. But, his ownership is still fairly high, 38%. I don't own Almiron myself. So, I'm not in this boat whether sell him or hold him. But if I did have him, I definitely think he's a hold just because the next two fixtures, game week 22, West Ham at home is quite a nice fixture. West Ham are struggling as well, as we've seen this season. Then Bournemouth away looks very nice in game week 23. I know you own Almiron, Jordan, and you've held on to him pretty much since. Have you considered any thoughts about switching him, or do you think he's a hold for you?
Yeah, he's definitely a hold for me as a Almiron owner still. He has 2 good fixtures coming up that I'm surprised a lot of people have transferred him out. This is probably out of frustration as he has blanked quite a few game weeks now, and that's kind of expected. But I think it's a bit early to be transferring out Almiron with the fixtures he has coming up, especially that Bournemouth one.
It's 4 game weeks he's blanked in a row now. So he scored in game week 17 after the restart of the World Cup, and then 4 game weeks in a row he's blanked. So 18, 19, 20, and now 21 as well he blanked. So what's your reason to holding him? Just the fixtures, and you think he's still one of Newcastle's key men, I'm guessing, to get the goals?
Yeah, he's still a key, like Rashford is for Man United. He's still a key player to have in your team to where he scores goals. I mean, he has scored 9 already this season. And the only way I would think of sending Almiron is if Newcastle in general dropped off of form, which they haven't so far this season. They're still on form and literally in a good position in the top 5. Unless I see a change in general Newcastle's form, I won't be even tempted or thinking about getting rid of Almiron. I'd be holding on to him especially for these next 2 fixtures. Even the Liverpool home one, I don't think that's even a red for Newcastle. That could be pretty much a grey for them, because I don't think
Even a green.
yeah. I mean, if for some, it may not be a red because Liverpool's defence is weakened and the midfield and the attack. Newcastle's, on the other hand, their clean sheet streak is unreal at the moment. So there's so much potential from Newcastle assets. They might potentially have a blank. So I kind of see why that may be why he's getting transferred out as well.
Yeah,
But
25, I think.
yeah,
Potentially.
but other than that, though, holding on to Almon's probably the best thing to do. I wouldn't be transferring him out yet. It's still too early. I mean, Newcastle's still good. Almon, I know, is blanked, but I think he's just been unfortunate. He has had chances to score. It's just been denied by either saves or misplaced chances. So I still think he is a dangerous threat from scoring goals, even though he's blanked in 4 game weeks.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on now to another player that we think you could hold on to, and that is Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne has been transferred out by 160,000 managers as of now, so he is one of the more higher transferred out players. His ownership is about 37%, 37.5%. So, yeah, I've put De Bruyne in here as a owner myself. I do own De Bruyne. I was actually looking to sell De Bruyne myself at the when Game Week 21 ended, but now I've considered it. I think I want Bruno and De Bruyne in my team together because I can get rid of Mount and then switch back to get rid of Mount and then bring in Bruno. So if you can hold on to De Bruyne, I know he doesn't have the greatest fixture this week against Tottenham away, but my thinking as a De Bruyne owner is purely down to that, double game week 23 where he's got Villa at home, which is a pretty nice fixture, you'd think. And then Arsenal away isn't going to be an easy fixture for Man City, but it is a double game week where not many teams will be doubling. So you might want triple or even double Man City. So that's more of the thinking about holding De Bruyne. I've seen he's been transferred out by a lot of managers. So I think I want to go against the crowd and keep him because I feel like he could return in the next 2 game weeks, especially with the double coming up. So I think a lot of people might not agree with me on this one. Let me know your thoughts, but I would be holding on to him personally. If you can fit Bruno in, if you can't fit Bruno in and De Bruyne in your own team, because you don't want to be in a situation where you take out De Bruyne, you bring in Bruno, who's got a nice double game week, and then you take Bruno back out in game week 23 when Man City have a double. It's better to try fit both of them into your own team if you can. So I'd be keeping on to him and looking to bring in Bruno for another way and having both. So that's my thinking behind it. He's still got 11 assists this season, 3 goals. I know he also has been a bit frustrating recently, especially since after the World Cup. His form hasn't been great. Neither has Man City's really, apart from Haaland obviously getting the hat trick. I think Kevin De Bruyne is one of those players that can just get 2 assists in one game as well. I think his last assist was against Manchester United in the loss, where he got 5 points. But since that, he did get an assist against Wolves as well, I believe, in the last game. So he's had 2 assists since the World Cup break in 5 game weeks, 6 game weeks. No goals. I don't think so. So I can see he's been underwhelming in terms of the premiums. Bruno's outscored him. I mean, Salah hasn't, I don't believe, outscored De Bruyne so far since game week 17, but I think he is still a hold, guys, just because of that double. And if after that he's not done anything after game week 23, you could be tempted to get rid of him. What's your thoughts on Man City, Jordan? Obviously, double game week 23 coming up. Would you want double or triple City? Because if you've won another route with Edison in your team.
Yeah, I think for me, a triple City is not necessary. I think even having just Haaland in your team is enough, even with the double. But in terms of De Bruyne, well, with the double, I think he's he's only a hold really because of the double game week, in my opinion. Because if he had a single one, we'll be talking about another story for holding him. He'd be rather a sell instead. But solely because of that double, you want to be holding on to him, especially for midfielder choices at the moment. We all know Pep likes to rotate midfielders like Mahrez, Gundogan, Foden, Grealish, and Kevin De Bruyne is the real only nailed choice. I know he did not start in the other game, that Man City did
I
play.
think it was Spurs, isn't it, when he didn't start?
Yeah, he didn't start in that one, but I think that was just a one-off. I don't think that's going to be a repetitive thing for De Bruyne, because he is a main asset for Man City, and he is one of the few players that are sort of on form in their team with his 11 assists and 3 goals behind him. That's not a bad result, but he has blanked in a few matches recently, only getting the one odd assist here and there. But because of that double, he is a hold just to see what he does. It's going to be tough, the Arsenal away one. It'd be very interesting because they do play tonight as well, what De Bruyne does do. So it'd be very interesting what people do with De Bruyne, but for the sake of the double game week, he is a hold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll put him as a hold for now. Let's move on to finally the players that we think you could ignore for double game week 22. And next up, as an ignore, we do have Mudryk. Now, just looking at the transfers in stats. So transfers in this round, Mudryk has been transferred in by 154,000 FPL managers so far. Sorry. I think that's coming off the back of that performance he had against Liverpool. He only played about 35 minutes, I think, against Liverpool, but he looked quite good on the pitch when he came on. Albeit he was up against Milner, who's 37 and, is not a right back. So do bear that in mind. But he did look good. He looked quick on the ball. He was trying to take players on, and he should have arguably scored instead of taking the touch on his left foot. If he shot, he could have scored. But he does look like a good signing so far for Chelsea. And you look at his expected goals, obviously, that's only for one game he's played so far. So that's why it's quite high. But he's got Fulham, West Ham, Southampton next. A lot of people are bringing him in early. His ownership's just gone over 2%. He's at 7 million as well, so he's not too expensive. But for us, he's still an ignore just because I'd want to wait and see how he actually does. I'll give him more game. I know he had a nice 30-minute cameo against Liverpool, but I'd like to give him Fulham and West Ham, and then potentially if he does, looks good, if he gets an assist, if he gets a goal, and then look to bring him in. I understand a lot of people want to be very, very early on him, but yeah, for me, he's a wait and see for this week. So he's not an ignore for the rest of the season. Definitely not. I think he could become an option if Chelsea turn it around. But for now, he's only played 30 minutes. I need to see more before I pull the trigger. Obviously, 150,000 of you have bought him in. So I just thought that was interesting. And I thought I'd put him as ignore just because I want to see more. What's your thoughts on Mudryk, Jordan? Would you wait and see? Because obviously he's only played 30 minutes and it's hard to judge so far.
Yeah, I think with Mudryk, I think I'd need more minutes and definitely more playing time from him to consider even having in my team, because one appearance for Chelsea, which was off of the bench, isn't going to convince me to buy him in, even on the form that he was in that 30 or so minutes. Still wouldn't persuade me, as well as it being a Chelsea asset as well, which haven't been the greatest this season for most people. It's just another link in the chain for Chelsea, because this is another player they brought in, and with all the players they are buying and loading in, it's hard to know who's going to start, who's going to play, how many minutes they're going to play. Yeah. And it's the same situation for Mudryk. We have to wait and see if he's actually going to start in these games, or is he just going to be off the bench kind of player. It will be interesting to see what he could do for Chelsea, but it's still so early to know whether he's going to be an asset we consider bringing in, because he is 7 million. I mean, he's not the most cheapest, but he ain't the most expensive player, but he still ain't one that I would have to fill a midfielder slot, especially with all the other midfielders that are currently on a good form as well, that have a double game week, especially in 22. Is definitely not a player that I would be bringing in, especially for the least next 2 game weeks, as they're both doubles.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think he didn't wait and see, especially with João Felix. Obviously got the red card against Fulham. When João Felix is back, what is that going to do to the dynamic of the team and how they're going to line up? So it's going to be interesting to see what Potter does with Chelsea, as a lot of us still aren't convinced with them. Moving on to finally another Chelsea player that is an ignore on our list. and that is Thiago Silva. Now, a lot of you might be wondering why we'll put him on this list, but according to the FPL website, he's been transferred in by 61,000 FPL managers so far this game week. His ownership's just above 8%. And 18 appearances so far this season, 2 assists. But, coming off the back of a clean sheet as well, I guess, against Liverpool. But overall, I think Chelsea, you've had your doubts over them a lot this season. They've not kept many clean sheets, though, have they, Chelsea, really? I don't think so. I don't know why people would be bringing him in. I've just, as I said, 61,000 managers have bought him in. So I just don't get why you'd want to bring a defender in a game week where Manchester United assets should be prioritized. Players like Bruno, Rashford, Luke Shaw that all have double game weeks. The next week you've got players like Mahrez that has a double. So you'd want to prioritize those players rather than a defender who's got a single game week against Fulham at home, which it's a London derby sort of. So could be a tough game for Chelsea, especially up against Mitrovic. So I'm not sure he'd be one I'd look to bring in personally. What's your thoughts on Chelsea's defense, and would you be bringing any assets in that sense?
Absolutely not. I'm very surprised that people are bringing in Chelsea assets as well, especially Thiago Silva. I mean, he was better last season because he did actually get some goals and was kind of an attacking threat, but we've seen no goals from Thiago Silva. We've only had 2 assists from him, which is very, I'll say, underlining for him because he has done better before. But at the same time, Chelsea is not the right time at the moment to bring in anyone from Chelsea. It's a wait and see pretty much from most players. And for a defender like Thiago Silva, I mean, in these fixtures, Fulham at home, I don't expect a clean sheet in that one. I probably see it in the West Ham game and maybe the Southampton one, but not Tottenham. So it is a bit of a mixed bunch of fixtures where Chelsea can't, I don't expect to keep a clean sheet in them. And I don't expect many returns from Thiago Silva, as Chelsea aren't the most prolific goal scorers at the moment. And with the 2 doubles game weeks coming up, Chelsea assets are at the bottom of my list to bring in.
Yeah, I agree there with you. I'd be avoiding Chelsea defensive players and even maybe the attacking players right now. I just don't think they're a team similar to Liverpool. They're just not playing well enough to, so where you go out and want to get their players. So that's our thoughts on Chelsea really. Let's recap quickly. So the 2 players you should be looking to buy are Rashford and Shaw. Plus, you can add Bruno Fernandes to that because, if we could do 3, Bruno is another big, definitely, as you can see by the thumbnail, Bruno is a buy as well for sure. The 2 players you sell are Cancelo and Salah. You should hold on to Almiron and De Bruyne, and you should look to ignore Mudryk and Thiago Silva. So those are the players out the way, the 8 players. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you have enjoyed the content so far, please make sure you drop the like on the video. Drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed. It really helps our channel grow and shows your appreciation for our efforts, and it helps the channel out a lot. So likes appreciated. And also, if you haven't, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel as well. We're on the road to 800 subscribers. Jordan, let's read out some comments and then we will wrap the video up and then go watch Arsenal against Man City. Nanjay with a comment, had a really big red arrow. Join the crew. It's one of those. It's one of those seasons. I've had a few as well anyway. But hopefully, game week 22, you can get a green arrow.
Yeah, it's the first one since the return of the World Cup for me.
Alex, hey guys, what do you think of Martinez in for Castagna instead of Bruno for Salah? Means I will start with Salah and Martinez instead of Bruno and Akanji. I'm not sure about that. I'd prefer Bruno in because Bruno's got a nice double game week. Bruno as well scored, I believe, in the 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest to make it 3-0. So I think Bruno for me is one of those players that I think could do well in this double game week. So I'd want Bruno in the team ahead of Salah. Salah's got a single game week and Man United are in better form. So who would you rather start, Jordan? Would you have Salah and Martinez instead of Bruno and Akanji. I'd go Bruno Akanji.
Yeah, I'll definitely go Bruno Akanji. I wouldn't. If I don't have Bruno in that double game week, I'll feel really lost because I've owned Bruno since after the World Cup, and he has given so many points for me. It's been unreal. He's been a major, great asset for FPL and in general for Man United as well. He's very underlooked. I'm very surprised now because of this double game week that people are actually starting to bring him in after scoring so many points beforehand. So yeah, without hesitation, I would have Bruno and Akanji.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Bruno is a pick that you should be looking to bring in. Um, Krogsberg, 75 points here and first in my mini league. Congrats. Managed wildcarding after do I triple captain Rashford? We spoke about Rashford. I think yes, he could be a good triple captain option, definitely. Um, he's on form right now, and he's scoring pretty much every game. So there's no reason why you can't go to Rashford. Dan Hilton, welcome. Hope you're well. I'm just gonna try see any comments that we've missed. A lot of comments on Man United. Shaw and Rashford are must, says Alex as well. Yeah, this is a little slight worry potentially. Luke Shaw didn't play in the Nottingham Forest game, and according to Ten Hag, I believe in his press conference, he was ill. So slight worry with Luke Shaw if he's ill, but hopefully he's back. And Man United do play tomorrow. I think he won't play. He won't risk him for that one, but then should be back in the league. So Luke Shaw is one to watch, guys, in terms of his illness, but I don't think it's anything serious.
No,
Um,
I think it'll be fine because in that Nottingham Forest game, I don't know if people noticed, but Rashford was actually taken off as well, and I think Ten Hag didn't really want to risk it because he did get slashed across his torso in the challenge, and then once he got that done on him, Ten Hag thought, yeah, I better not risk this and take Rashford off and rest him for the next game. So I think for Luke Shaw is similar situation for him.
yeah, of course it was illness, but he should be fine. I'm assuming it was just a cold or something. Thoughts on Mount and Almiron for Mitoma and Odegaard? Yeah, I like those moves. Maybe you could keep Almiron for another week, but Mount I would be looking to get rid of myself. If you can go to Bruno, as you said, Bruno's one I'd be looking to do if you have got money in the bank. Maybe Mount to Bruno like me. Um, is Meslier a good buy this game week? Obviously with Leeds.
Uh, that is a very interesting question because these two double as well, and it's not a bad double. I have
Nottingham
all.
Forest and United away, 2 away games.
Oh yeah, so they are tough, but yeah, I think he is a good buy. I mean, if you have got nothing to do in your team, like you've got no injury problems, you're fine with your players that are starting, and you don't
Mm.
want to get rid of anyone in your team. I'm personally in the same position. Then yeah, I would say he's a good buy if you don't have anything to do in your team and you want to
Mm.
switch out your goalkeeper for a double game week goalkeeper like Meslier.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm not sure if I'd go there. I would rather, if I was looking at Leeds, I would be, more tempted with Gononto, the 5 million forward. So that's where I'd potentially be looking to bring someone in. Gononto, the striker for Leeds. That would be my option if I was going to bring in a Leeds player. Lukata says thoughts on Dalot. Keep with the double game week or not risk it. Um, in my opinion, I, I probably I probably wouldn't risk it. I don't know because I think Ten Hag said so Manchester United actually play tomorrow. For those that don't know, they have an FA Cup fixture against sorry, who was it? Against Reading. Man United play Reading tomorrow at 8 p.m. in the FA Cup fourth round. So Ten Hag's already ruled him out for that game. He's not going to be playing tomorrow. So that would worry me going into a double. And even if he is fit, he'll probably likely play one, and then Wan-Bissaka will play the other one. So I don't think he's going to play both, even if he's fit. So I probably would get rid of him. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, with his injury issues since the World Cup, and he's still sort of really recovering from it, I think he's not one to really risk to go for. I mean, I would probably swap him out for another double gaming player like maybe Shaw or someone that is going to start in both of those double gaming fixtures rather than Dalot, who may be a doubt in one of them and not play both.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to read out some questions. I'm going to try to go over things we already covered. Left LW holding on to Nunes in case he finally cashes in his XG. That's Nunes is back from injury. We'll see. If he's, if some people still have faith in him, I guess. Anything else? Quanda's in chat. Welcome. Good evening, lads. I agree with Alma on hold. I'll rather sell in blank Gameweek 25 if Newcastle reach the final. Cancelo, I will sell. Yeah, Cancelo is a sell for sure. Roman Jarvis, would you do Kane and Andreas to Nketiah and Bruno for a -4? I probably would,
Yeah, I probably would do that as well. It's not a bad -4 to take because Arsenal do have a double coming up in, I think, 23.
23, yeah.
And Bruno has a double in Gameweek 22. So, yeah, it would make up for the -4 quite quickly for that switch. And Nketiah is kind of a differential coming off a 13-pointer as well, scoring 2 against Man United in his last game, which looks really good. And Bruno as well, another differential. Won't be for long, though. Yeah, it looks good as well.
Finally, last question, I think. If you've already got Rashford, which a lot of us do have, is Bruno as much as a must-have to bring in? I think, yes, he still is.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, basically, it's because Rashford is so highly owned, where if he does score some points, everyone's got him, so it's not going to make much of a difference. So with Fernandez's ownership being a lot lower, you'd hope that would give you a bit of a differential. And obviously, if you are looking to captain Bruno as well, potentially, then even bigger returns if he does score or get an assist. So I'd be looking to bring both of them in, and that's what I'd be probably doing. So yeah, but yeah, I think that's everything really. For this stream, just want to say, if you have enjoyed the content, guys, don't forget to drop a like. It helps us out a lot. And if you haven't, please share the video as well. And if you can, also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Road to 800 subscribers next. But yeah, I think that is everything, Jordan. I'll just take this off the screen. But yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone for everyone that has joined the stream. Thank you for all your interactions and your comments. It's been a pleasure chatting to you guys, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you have, as always, you know what to do. Drop a like on the stream, and we are back again for a team selection video, probably on Tuesday, I believe. Probably Tuesday. We'll know. Obviously, we're going to watch the FA Cup games over the weekend. Probably Tuesday now, and then we'll be back to Friday. It is the deadline stream for Double Gameweek 22. It's going to be a big one, so make sure you tune in. We'll probably go live around 5 o'clock on Friday. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's it for now. That's it from the FPL Duo. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Manchester City kick off in just under 15 minutes, so we're going to go watching that. And yeah, anything else you'd like to add, Jordan, before we wrap the stream up?
Yes, just thank you for everyone for watching. It's very appreciated as always. Love the questions. We always love answering them. Enjoy the football against Man City and Arsenal. It's going to be a massive game for both teams. And yeah, enjoy the weekend as well. Hope you'll have a nice, relaxing one, ready for the Double Gameweek 22.
Yep. Take care, guys, and see you in the next one.